Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing 1998's A Night at the Roxbury. And before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_Idol. And you can follow the show on both Twitter and Instagram at Kiss the Reviews. All right. Let's get into the cast of 1998's A Night at the Roxbury. This film stars Will Ferrell as Steve Butabi, Chris Kattan as Doug Butabi, Dan Hedaya as Kamehl Butabi, Loni Anderson as Barbara Butabi, Molly Shannon as Emily Sanderson, Michael Clarke Duncan as Roxbury Bouncer, and Richard Grieco as Richard Grieco. You can't go wrong with just Richard Grieco playing Richard Grieco.
No.
I've
seen it twice, and it's worked both times. Once in
Exactly.
this movie, once in Sunny, and it's both been brilliant.
Yeah. No, he's fantastic when he plays himself.
Yes. But he has the ability, and this is why I think the Grieco and us would be very good friends. Because he has the same ability that we do to just make fun of himself. He's not taking it seriously. He knows what the perception is, and he just fucking rides that wave.
Oh, yeah.
Rides it to an easy paycheck.
Oh, absolutely. He leans into it. That's never a bad thing.
No.
Not when you're talking about Grieco. But, so this movie, when we got the request, I was like, ooh. All I remember, because I've obviously seen this a few times, because it is a Will Ferrell joint. But this was I don't know if it was at the beginning or I think it was in the middle of SNL skits that became movies.
Mm-hmm.
No premise, just a skit. This is a skit about two douchey rich guys that go to the bar and they're kind of morons. And they're like, cool, let's do a whole movie about it with literally there's almost no plot to this movie.
You were right.
It's a movie. We can say that about this.
It is. This is how I would describe it. My guess is Will Ferrell says this is a Chris Kattan movie. And Chris Kattan says, yeah, this is a Chris Kattan movie. Because
listen,
there's not much else to go on.
Unpopular opinion, I am not a Chris Kattan guy.
No, samesies.
I just, and this also, because you see, and we'll obviously get into this, but you see throughout this movie little glimpses of Will Ferrell being the Will Ferrell we know now, like the seasoned comedic actor. Mm-hmm. And they're just little glimpses of him here and there where I bust out laughing, not because of the scene or anything. It's just Will Ferrell doing Will Ferrell things. Doug and Steve Butabi are two rich kids. They're spoiled brats who are into the clubbing scene in Los Angeles. They're basically two adult men who have brain damage and money from a rich dad.
This is like the first draft, I feel like, for Step Brothers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Here's this premise that we have. Two brothers, very addled, don't know how to do really anything on their own because they grew up rich, they grew up spoiled, and this is just what they do. They go out every night trying to club, and they fucking fail every single night because they're just not good at anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically, you take out the clubbing, and that's Step Brothers.
But this movie opens with Doug and Steve. They're at the club being awkward and getting kicked out. And they end up at another bar called the Mud Club, telling their Emilio Estevez story to two girls who could honestly not give a shit about them, the story, or whatever. And you start to get an idea of how smooth-brained they are. And
smooth-brained. It's a nice way to say it.
Yes. But they're just socially awkward. They don't know how to act around people. I know that this thing, the head bobbing thing, was a thing in the sketch that they did for SNL, but it gets so played immediately in this movie that the head bobbing, the dancing, where although funny, the whole getting a girl between the two of them and them just like basically air fucking her back and forth, kind of funny. But again, it all gets played because that's literally all they do. It's like the one trick pony.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that's the difference between like this and, let's say, Wayne's World.
Yes.
Like if you just made Wayne's World about, headbanging to Bohemian Rhapsody, okay, then that's a 5-minute sketch at best that you can stretch that for. And that's basically what they did here.
Yeah.
They stretched it for as long as they could, and then when they had to, they got the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Because they knew, like, let's just give those people what they want.
Yeah.
And then let's try and make a movie here. And Wayne's World, they peppered in I think they interviewed one person?
Yes.
During the entire movie, which was this whole sketch of Wayne's World on SNL was interviewing people in his mom's basement.
Yes.
And I think the only person they interviewed was the arcade guy.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like that kind of worked, and they built the movie around actually a movie with a plot. Whereas this, it's just kind of like, what are we going to do?
Clubs and things.
We don't find out Chris Kattan wants to do anything with a club until we're like halfway through the movie when they meet Chaz Palminteri, who, by the way, fucking phenomenal.
Dude, Chaz Palminteri is fantastic in this movie.
Yes. He is by far the best thing that happened in this movie.
Did you just grab my ass?
We then get them in the car, doing some car dancing on their way to the Roxbury. They get pulled over by the hot cop here, played by Jennifer Coolidge. Again, we've talked about her. If she's in a movie, I'm watching it. And she only makes like 2 appearances in this movie, but I'm there for it because she's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I wish they would have given her the role of one of the gold diggers. If they would have flopped the blonde gold digger and her out, that would have just been money.
Absolutely.
You're right. She's so underused. She looks fantastic, though. I had trouble at first placing her because I've never really seen her that young.
Yeah, I mean, it was 25 years ago?
Yeah, I don't really remember seeing her at first as Stifler's mom.
So you're enjoying yourself? Are you trying to seduce me?
That was the first time I really was like, oh, okay, remember who this person is.
Yeah.
But knowing now, if they would have flipped her with the gold digger, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a home run. They get to the Roxbury. They run into the bouncer who stonewalls them. As they see Richard Grieco getting into the club, they get in line, tell their Emilio story again, and the club closes before they can get in. The next day, they head to the flower shop, the silk flower shop that their father owns. And while processing a credit card, Doug has to call the credit card company because he's in love with the operator, played by Meredith Scott Lynn. I do like Meredith Scott Lynn. She's hilarious. I love her. Mm-hmm. But this whole, I don't know, CDE plot of Chris Kattan and her and the credit card thing, whatever. It is what it is. But we now get the glimpse of them working for their dad. And how is their dad filthy rich by selling silk flowers on Rodeo Drive or wherever the fuck the goddamn flower shop is?
Well, I think you said it there. He's selling bullshit on Rodeo Drive. I think selling overpriced bullshit to rich people is how all of those people got very rich.
Yeah, possibly.
It's just
it's ridiculous.
It's one of those things where it was like, all right, let's make them florists because that would be funny. They have to drive around in the floral van at some point after their dad takes away their car keys.
Yes.
Right? You can see him writing this, and then they go, no, wait.
It's silk.
Silk flower shop. Yo, that's killer.
That's money.
See back in this day.
Yeah.
That was like a home run writer's room situation. Silk flower shop. Fuck yeah, dude. We're going to get so much play out of that.
Hell yes.
Steve then talks to Emily, whose father owns the lamp store next door. And Doug tries to get into the middle of things because he doesn't want to lose his wingman and his brother. And we also get the little glimpse into like the relationship with their father. Like, father really likes Will Ferrell's character. He hates Chris Kattan. So basically, their dad is like me.
Yes, I have a fantasy that I have two capable sons, not one with his head up in the clouds and the other with his head up his ass.
And he treats them as such. He wants Steve to take over the silk flower business because there's future in that.
And I'm going to just stop you real quick because I got to throw this in there.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, brothers. Uncle Corey here. If you ever interrupt your brother from having a conversation with super horny Molly Shannon,
yes,
not only will you get disowned, I or Armando will magically appear and slap the shit out of you. You don't do that.
No.
You do not cockblock your own brother, whether or not you think they're laying traps or this is about to happen and you don't want to. Let him do what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
Period.
And we talked about it before we started recording. Both of us have I'll say a healthy obsession with Molly Shannon. It's on the verge of unhealthy, but it's
healthy for us.
Yeah. Yes, I love Molly Shannon. Period. Yeah. It then cuts to the gym, then the beach, where they're talking and arguing about wanting to open up their own popular dance club. And their plan is to be able to get into the Roxbury so that they will be able to open their own club.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, entrepreneurs out there. If you have like this dream, and in this case to start your own popular dance club, first of all, a bar or a dance club is not the business to get into. Think of another idea, because you will be out of business in 3 months. Second, if this is the avenue you're going down, a business plan works. Doing some research into how clubs make money and all of those, that stuff works. Don't do what these two guys do and go, you know how we'll build a successful club? By getting into a successful club. That's fucking ridiculous. That's not how that shit works at all.
No, and you have to be, just to top on your point here, you have to be pretty fucking stupid or smooth brain, as you said, in order to not get into a club. It's not that difficult. I know people like, you have to be a hot chick. No. Armando and I at our poorest got into fucking clubs all the time. Was not difficult.
Yep.
And most of the time, you can get into a club, even if you have a shitty bouncer and they're like, no, you're not getting in. You could get into them with the right amount of money, not $7.45 or whatever the fuck they try and hand off.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you grease the right palms, you're getting in the club, no problem.
They then go back home. They get ready to go out for the night. And we get the getting ready montage along with another argument with their dad, who hates how dumb they are and that they go clubbing and whatnot. So we're now back at the Roxbury, where Steve and Doug get stonewalled again as they look for an ATM to bribe the bouncer because they only have $7 between them. They get rear-ended by Richard Grieco. To get out of calling the cops and getting sued, Grieco tells them that he can get them into the Roxbury. So we cut to the Roxbury where they meet Benny Zadir, played by Chaz Palminteri. He is the owner of the Roxbury and is constantly asking people if they grabbed his ass.
Who grabbed my ass? Did you grab my ass?
Okay, I know I said earlier that the head bobbing, the dancing, the awful, weird, uncomfortable dancing is played like immediately in this movie. Mm-hmm. The whole, did you grab my ass? From here through the end of the movie becomes a thing. And this, even though it's brought up like 100 times, doesn't get played for some reason. And I think it's because of Chaz Palminteri's delivery. And it's fucking brilliant. Like, again, we already mentioned, Chaz Palminteri is fucking brilliant in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He made me want to continue watching.
One day you're hot, the next day you're not.
It's exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the show. These are younger actors coming in who are used to sketch comedy on TV. Whether it's live or not is irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's very different than going to film. So taking them versus an experienced actor who's done it all, and has come from the stage, has TV, has done film, etc. And for him to come into this role, that's a cakewalk for him. Just to make it his own, be that character all the way. And there is no line you have to deliver the rest of the movie. The only line you ever have to deliver is, "Did you just grab my ass?"
You grab my ass. No. You want to?
Yeah. So hit it out of the park, make it fun every time. That's all you have to do.
Absolutely.
For a guy for an actor of his caliber, that ain't shit.
That's a layup for him.
Yeah.
So here they actually pitch their idea of the club they want to open. Make the indoor outdoor and the outdoor indoor. And they also get approached by two gold-digging whores who think that Doug and Steve are rich businessmen. And we get another weird dancing scene with all four of them, and cool.
I get what they're trying to do.
100%.
Like, I get it. We don't know how we're doing it. We don't know what dancing is. And this is, blah, 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 blah. But the joke is just always them, like, running into the chick and knocking her down.
Exactly.
Cool. Seen it. Next.
Well, and you can
know what I
do
mean?
it. Like, the funniest part about this, because you can do that once. That's funny.
Yeah.
If you do it, and you and I have talked about this when it comes to comedy, you have like the rule of three, and if you go above and beyond that, like now you're being obnoxious. And if you're doing it on purpose, also very funny. But they do it just enough to make it annoying. The best part of this whole dance scene is when Chris Kattan puts his legs around Will Ferrell and they do the spin in the club. That's the funniest part about, like, if they did more of that and like funny dances versus them just slamming into people, like, I think the scene would have been funnier.
Well, yeah, because that when they're dancing together, it's so choreographed that they had to be practicing that at home.
Yes.
And that's where that joke is, that they came to the club with choreographed dance.
Yes.
But for each other. It's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But then you have them completely loose. Like, they're dancing wonderfully. It's beautiful. The crowd is partying. And then they stop. They go to dance with the girls. And it's just...
Oh, it's
like,
flailing.
You're two totally different people now. And it's just...
Yeah.
It doesn't play as well.
Absolutely.
You're a moron character acting like a moron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A great example of this, and we use it all the time, is in Always Sunny, where Charlie is an idiot, right? Completely fucking stupid. But they have the dance competition in the bar, and he's dancing to the Top Gun love song. And it's this beautiful, choreographed dance. And that's what the joke is like, this moron still remembers this dance recital or routine that he did from the 8th grade.
And I'm about to show you the white hot cream of an 8th grade boy.
You got to know when to pick your spots. And I think, like you said, they played it so early, so fast that when you get to this point, it's exhausting.
From there, we get all of them in Zadir's limo. They're partying and drinking, and they get whippets. And we also get another call to the Chris Kattan makes to the credit card lady. And then we get to Zadir's house where he's throwing a party. Zadir promises Doug and Steve that he would set a meeting with them to discuss their club ideas. And Doug and Steve are there with the women again. They take them up to the bedrooms to bang. Doug and Steve keep giving pickup lines while the girls are like literally trying to actively bang them. And they get excited after they lose their virginity and celebrate the fact that they got the girls' numbers. This piece is funny.
Yes,
because
this is the one time I like Chris Kattan in this movie.
Yes. The girl on top of him, he's still giving like the pickup lines. She stops him and she's like, hey, this is going to happen. Like we're well past that. and he just keeps going because he's nervous. And they're like she's like crawling on him, and he's trying to like get away. That like this whole series of scenes with him and Will Ferrell are funny scenes. Like when you see the poster for Night at the Roxbury, like this is what you expect. You know what I mean? Like this was the funny part.
Well, exactly. You have these guys who have pretended to be cool.
Yeah.
For as long as they can remember. But inside, they're just terrified fucking children. Just about to do this is what you set out to do.
Yeah.
You're there now.
You were right.
And they're just freaking out and losing their minds. And it's fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
And then when they come out, half sentences talking to each other in their boxers, and then right back in the bedroom.
Yes.
That's exactly. And again, like you said, it's a sketch. This whole thing is just one sketch. You take that, you print that, you put it on SNL. That is a funny ass sketch, and you're going to laugh at it every time.
Yep.
It's just in this case, it's sandwiched right in the middle of a fucking terrible movie.
So the next day, they head to Zadir Industries to meet with Zadir. They're stonewalled by Dewey, Zadir's like bodyguard / limo driver, played by Colin Quinn, who also does a very good job. And he tells the brothers that Mr. Zadir was drunk, he doesn't remember them, and then Dewey has security kick them out of the building. They're depressed and, our dreams are crushed. So they decide to call the chicks from the night before, and they pick them up in the flower van. And when the women find out that they're not rich businessmen and their dad's just a rich flower shop owner, they call them losers and then ditch them.
Which I don't understand this. Like, if you're a gold digger and you've already set like this up, right?
Yeah.
You've already banged these two fucking imbeciles. They're rich. Their dad just took away their key. So now you should be thinking like, okay, kind of like Molly Shannon does later. I should be able to manipulate them. Yes. And they're rich.
Yeah.
That's even better. Like, why the rich business? That's like, I am specifically marrying a rapper. If Scottie Pippen hits on me, I'm going to tell him to fuck himself because I want to marry a fucking rapper. Period. Like, no, I'm pretty sure if you're a gold digger, you just bounce around to wherever that is, kind of like Kim Kardashian does.
Hell yes.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm sorry. You fall in love with whoever's popular for that moment.
On the way back home, the brothers get into a fight. Doug blames everything on Steve, and they go their separate ways. Meaning, Doug moves into their dad's guest house on the giant property that they have. This is where it starts to resemble Step Brothers. So we have Steve, he starts dating Emily, she starts taking over his life while Doug's life starts falling apart without Steve. He's trying to use their personal trainer to fill his Steve-shaped hole that he's got in his heart. But this was the glimpse that I got at Will Ferrell today. Molly Shannon it's the first scene of them after they start dating. And she's going through his bedroom and she's taking all this shit. And she was like she has the disco ball and she's like, who the fuck uses this? Like, why is this a decoration? And she's starting to change his shit. And he's on the end of the bed closest to the camera. And he's just got like the tear coming down. Like he's super sad. And that was the glimpse into the Will Ferrell that like we all know today. Like just that scene. It was perfect. Like 100%. Again, I know we shit on this movie. We're going to continue to shit on it, but there are glimpses and pieces of this movie that are really funny.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So, most of them just don't involve Chris Kattan.
One scene. Steve and Emily then start planning their wedding while Doug, again, tries to fill his Steve-shaped hole with their personal trainer, taking him to the club and whatever, because he needs another wingman. And it's finally Steve's wedding day. Emily is doing her best Bridezilla impression, and they start to share their vows. As the ceremony continues, Baby Don't Hurt Me begins to play as Doug crashes the wedding. And you mentioned this before we recorded, but so this song plays through the whole movie. Like this, the soundtrack I think is one song, but I hated this song when it was popular, when it was on like the Billboard charts or whatever, the top 40. This was the most annoying song to me. And nothing has changed. The minute I hear it, I cringe.
Yeah, this type of music is why I did not go to these type of clubs.
Yes.
By and large, I didn't fucking care about it because I couldn't fake my way through this shit.
Yeah.
It's just... Bleh.
You're right again.
Hey, good for you for making all the money you did off of it. Cause
I'm not ripping on the artist. Hey, cash in on your shit, man. Make all the money you can and get the fuck out.
That's right.
But Steve here then runs away, tells Emily that he's not ready to get married. Doug and Steve run away from the ceremony together, and Steve and Doug's trainer then steps in and marries Emily as the ceremony continues. Doug apologizes to Steve as they do the reenactment of Jerry Maguire, the final scene. And as this is happening, Richard Grieco gives their dad some advice on his relationship with Doug. We said it before. I love Richard Grieco playing Richard Grieco, but like this scene encapsulates why I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they did the opposite of what they were doing with Jennifer Coolidge. They realized they had Richard Grieco. Let's fucking use Richard Grieco to the best of our ability. And if you've got comedy writers that know how to write comedy, they know how to take an actor like that and where to put him best.
Yes.
It just worked out perfectly well for him. And him giving this deep, thoughtful, psychological advice to their father, who has been screaming and yelling and hates everyone and everything the entire time. And he's just broken this man down.
Yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's
just
great.
Phenomenal.
It's great. So we then cut to Doug and Steve driving to go clubbing again. They get their car back from their dad. Everything seems to be good. And they pass by this indoor-outdoor club that was Doug's idea. Dun, dun, dun. So they're on the list when they get to the bouncer and they get right in. They then see Mr. Zadir, who greets them and says that he opened the club with their idea and that they're now his partners in this club. And just an FYI, this isn't a don't do that or a PSA or anything like that. This is not how this happens in real life. This guy steals their idea, puts them on the list as like, hey, take them out back and murder them because I don't want to deal with their bullshit because I stole their idea and this shit's dope and this club is awesome. Not, hey, I stole your idea because I knew once you saw it, you'd come because I couldn't find you. And I knew this would bring you in. And now we're partners.
Oh, yeah. Look, dude, I came up with the nickname Agent Orange for Donald Trump before anybody on this fucking planet ever even thought of that shit. Remotely. Have I seen a check from Eminem? No. That's the way the world goes.
Thanks, Em. Doug then sees the credit vixen at the bar. They hit it off. The credit vixen is there with her girlfriend, hottie cop, Jennifer Coolidge, and the four of them then go to the dance floor. End of movie. Again, kind of shitty scenes punctuated by really funny scenes. And then it ends so flat. Yes. And this is how you know there's no real plot. The plot is they want to open their own club. They don't even open their own club. Somebody does it for them and goes, here, this is your club, your partners. And they're like, dope, we're rich club owners now, all of a sudden. This is kind of like in a movie where somebody's like, oh, I lost my job today. I can't pay my mortgage tomorrow. Like, that's not how that shit works. Like, now they're rich because they own a club and they just hit the dance floor and they dance and then credits?
Yeah. By the way, if you own that club, get the fuck up to your office and get to work. You got bartenders stealing from you. You got bouncers taking sexual favors to let people in the club. 100%. You got all kinds of dirty shit. There's a busboy fucking selling blow. You got all kinds of shit you got to keep your eye on. Get your ass off that fucking dance floor. Credit Vixen will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude. Everything, like, they got everything they always wanted 30 minutes into the movie. Like, you know what I mean? They decided 30 minutes into the movie, like, I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Since when? We've known you for 30 minutes, and you've never once mentioned it.
Well, and the funny thing is, so you have that, and then you also have, like, the payoff in a movie, comedy or not, is if you get the thing at the end of the movie, like, you worked to get the thing. They literally didn't do shit, and they still got the thing. And the funny part is, there's one piece when they find out that they're partners now, and then everybody starts like walking up to him and like, "Hey, Mr. Butabi," and one of the bouncers or bartenders walks up and he's like, "Can you approve this?" And he's like, "Yes, it's approved." That's office time. That's like, don't just shove this in my face. I'm gonna go up to the office. So I'm gonna take a look at this. Let's take a look at some of the. That's how you know these guys are complete. Nothing has changed. They're still morons. They're just morons who own a club.
No, you're 100% correct. And I'm going to put it, I think, like this, and then I'll pretty much be done with this turd.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, Idea Men. Uncle Corey here. If you fancy yourself an idea man, this is never how it works out. This is a piece of fiction. You're still a lazy bum who doesn't want to do any of the work yourself. Good? We good?
Amen. Good. Amen. I think we're good.
Can you tell I talk to idea men way too fucking often?
Yes. I'm sorry, okay?
Write your own fucking stories. That's all I'm saying.
I just offer up my ideas. If you don't like them, just tell me. Oh, well, on that note, you obviously don't have anything else for this movie. No. Neither do I. I don't think this holds up at all. No. And if it was, even if it was hilarious in 98, now there's so many other comedies, like ridiculous comedies, that 100, 200 that I would choose above this one. So that's, for me, that's why this whole thing doesn't hold up.
Give me almost any SNL movie.
Yes.
And I'd rather watch that than this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that said, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1998's A Night at the Roxbury.